Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Words I Choose to Live by here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could be with us. I'm joined by our co-hosts you see there, Tina Siemens, Dr. Velma Bagby, and Melissa Banks. We're glad that you all could join us for our weekly motivation that we try to give you guys here on Amazon. We are simulcasting our broadcast, so we do welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, on YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram as well. So if you guys have any questions or comments as we're going throughout our show today, we definitely welcome you guys. Hello to you, Jacqueline. Good to be able to see you over there on Facebook. Glad you could be able to join us as well. Ladies, how's everyone doing?
Doing great.
Doing wonderful. Thank you.
Glad to hear it. Dr. Velma seems to be having a little bit of a tech issue there. I'm sure she'll be able to join us back here in just a moment. This week, we're discussing week number 44. We're really counting down now in our book. And I do want to let our audience know, as a bit of housekeeping, we will not be with you guys next week, next Monday, live. But we were just talking before we went live here today that we will be doing a montage for you guys so that you will have some motivation from us for next Monday. But we're discussing message number 44, one of my favorites, I was saying, Tina, that's in this book. And the topic is this: trust. Being successful is not always about being recognized as the best. It's about always bringing the best of yourself to everything you say and do in your life. Now, this is an interesting thing, because one of my sayings that I'm known for is saying that success is personal. And I think for a lot of people, they think of success when it comes to money or big houses and cars. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But I love the fact that for myself, what I've come to realize, what has helped me in my life to look at things with perspective, is realizing is as long as I'm doing my best, no matter where I may be, then that's a win. And that's how I kind of look at it, that success for me is a personal win. You know, if I'm able to get up in the morning, that's a win. If I'm able to go throughout the day and to get some things achieved, that's a win for me. So I don't always judge it by the big things. I know a lot of people are waiting on the big things to be able to happen. For me, though, I try to think about it as, what can I personally do today to move the ball forward? And as long as I can do that, I'm definitely consider that a win. Well, listen, we're going to kick things over to you. What has it been like for you to realize that success really has to do with being your personal best?
Actually, this is a really good topic because for me, that's what keeps me going. See, there was a time when everything was measured by how many likes you have, how many follows you have, how many big events you have, whether you were able to cross cultures in your events. Everything was based on that. And when you didn't reach that, you were hard on yourself. You felt like you failed and hadn't been successful. But once I grasped what it means for me personally, then I'm able to move forward. One of the things you've heard me say so many times, Cyrus, is I celebrate the small wins, because when you're just focused on the big goal, the big thing that happened, that event that you thought you'll never get, or that day that you had the biggest sales ever, as long as you're just focusing on that, you miss the gut of who you are and those small things that will get you to the big things. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with wanting the big event, wanting the big contract, or wanting the big thing. But if you only focus on that big thing, all those little things that God has placed in your path that are necessary for you to be equipped to get to the big stuff, you miss them because you're moving forward, moving fast through them. So for me, it helps me every single day, no matter what it looks like. I used to say all the time, if you're just looking at the money in the bank account, then that is not going to sustain you through the stuff that you have to push through. So I just believe I show up as me. You know, sometimes that me is a bit much for people, but I show up as me, and I'm going to show up doing my best. Even when it's a small thing, I show up doing my best, looking my best, being my best. And when I realize that, even on the bad days, I can keep going. And to me, that is success.
Love that. Love that. Great way to kick us off, Dr. Velma. What about for you? What has it been like for you to realize the importance of giving your personal best every day?
Well, first of all, my best is just being here and doing what I'm doing. And I love what Melissa said. And you're never too much for me, Melissa, because I love your personality and everything about you. I love looking at the pink backdrop because I know that's your brand. So I love it. And so just know there are people like me who love you the way you are. And I just want to say, Cyrus, that My success for me, and I've only been writing for 6 years now. I started writing as an author in 2018 at the age of 65. And I remember sharing with you the post about the lady who played in Black Panther, who had started acting at the age of 88. And she was 90, I think she's 92 now. And she was 88 when she became recognized worldwide acting in that movie. And so I'm thinking success can be a lot of things. And it's not always, like Melissa said, it's not always money. Did you accomplish something on your list today? Did you wake up this morning? That's success, first of all. And so you have to really just own the little things, as Melissa said. And for me, sometimes is, did I touch a life today? Did somebody resonate with something I wrote that was sincerely written so that it would help other people, help other women in their dating lives? All of that to me equals success. Is it money? Of course we want to see that, but it's not the money is not the priority. Did I make a new connection? Did I find a new friend, a new business relationship? There's all those things that we can say are successful because we didn't have it the year before, but we do have it now. So I would celebrate all of those little things that God has blessed us to accomplish, and we just have to focus on the right things and not on the wrong things.
Exactly. Such a great point. Tina, what about for you? What has it been like for you to realize the importance of just giving your personal best?
Well, for me, it has been realizing that I am enough. I know we said that a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, that every person has been given been equipped with the task at hand. God created each one of us individually, and He gave those tools to get that job done. So for me, my success may look totally different than somebody else's. I've made some notes of all the things that I'm not. I'm not the mayor of a town. I'm not an athletic person. But what I am is, if I do show up and if I do the very best on a given day, that's all that's required of me. And so for me, uh, learning to trust that I am enough has been a challenge, because we so often judge ourselves with somebody else's success measuring stick. And so if I realize that my success is when I show up for Tina Siemens, then I am a success. And so so often it's when we hear it, and I've had 5 funerals of dear friends in the last 4 weeks. And so often at funerals, it's spoken about the legacy that somebody left. And that's the dash between the day that you're born and the day that you've died. That is the legacy that you leave. And so for me, it's so visible that we need to show up every single day for me, not for somebody else's perspective of who or what I should be. But if I do what God has given me, then I will be successful. And so it's a continuous journey for every one of us. And I'm just glad we can all be here, breathing and doing our very best today.
That's
Love
right.
that. Thank you for that. Luana, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on Facebook. I'm going to reset real quick and say hello to all of those who are tuning in. Troy Rollins, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. You're watching Word That Chooses to Live by here on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. We're joined by Tina Siemens. You see her there. Also, Dr. Velma Bagby, Melissa Banks. We're talking about my book, Word That Chooses to Live by, message number 44. And this message is all about trusting. Now, I appreciate everything that everyone had to say. Hello to you, William. Good to see you, William. I got something for you later on today, so definitely be watching your notifications here on Facebook. I appreciate everything that you all said, and I agree with it, and it sounds great. But I began this message by saying in the book something that I think a lot of people can resonate with. Being successful is not always about being recognized as the best. So I want to go back around, Dr. Velma, and now ask you, what keeps you going even when your efforts aren't recognized? Because I think a lot of people, as you all talked about, being seen is important, but what keeps you motivated even when you're not being seen?
Well, being seen by whom? Because if you're serving an audience, if you've served one person who appreciates your efforts, then you're successful. if I had to turn around and say thank you to someone who helped me along the way, then you're being successful. Like the 9 lepers who were healed and only one turned around and told Jesus, thank you. And so that could be defined in different ways. And so for me, it's not about the numbers. It's not about a huge following. It's not about any of that. If I am able to serve one person, if one person can come back and say, thank you, Velma, you helped me with this, because I always want to turn back and help somebody else. I never want to achieve anything that God has given me to do, and I don't turn around and help someone else, because that happened to me in the beginning of my journey. People weren't helpful. I noticed that people were not very giving. And so unless I dial 1-800 pay me cash first and then I'll talk to you. And so I try not to be that kind of person. And so for me, that's all success. All of it is success. Did I help somebody else that was in the same predicament I was in the very beginning? Did I speak to someone concerning their dating life and marriage and relationships? Did something I say really help them along the way? And to give you another example, there's this very successful author that I consider successful. She's been in the business a long time. And I remember the day she sent me a message and said, hey, I just found your book, A Place Called Down. And that was when I wrote about a very difficult time in my life. Spent an entire year overcoming an illness. And I remember questioning God, why do you have me going through this? God, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to for you. What is it that I'm not doing? And it wasn't that I wasn't doing anything. That God said not to think is strange. There are going to be trials and tests along the way, and he only will take us through the fire to burn off what he cannot use in where he's taking you. And so she reached out and said these kind words to me. This book came at the right time for me, and I really appreciate you. To me, at that moment, after writing since 2018 and starting my writing career at the age of 65, like this actor who started her acting career late in life and became worldwide in the very first film. To me, that's success. And to me, that spells success. And that says to me that I'm doing exactly what God has designed for me to do.
Love that. Tina, what about for yourself? What is it that keeps you going and motivated, even when it seems like what you're doing is not being recognized?
Well, I think if I show up for myself, then I can walk in confidence. And if I walk in confidence, that shows throughout the day, whoever I come across, whoever I speak to, or whoever I have a conversation with. Confidence is such a beautiful character in a person. And we can always feel that confidence whenever we talk to somebody on the phone or when we talk to somebody standing in the grocery line. You can feel if that person is confident in themselves. And for me, showing up confident is already successful, because then I am not a downer. I will have a word of encouragement for somebody, or I will be able to walk out strong, even though I didn't have any personally one-on-one with anyone that day. If I was in the word, or if I was on my knees, then I had a conversation with my Heavenly Father. So that I showed up for myself with confidence, and then that is enough for that day. So we don't have to be everything for everyone. But if I show up confident for my own self, then I've done what I was created for. And so for me, that is huge. And some days that's all I can do is to show up confident for myself. And then if I do that, that will then in turn make tomorrow better, because I will have the foundation laid today to have a springboard for tomorrow.
Love that. Great message. Luana says that you may not be recognized by others as the best, but it's important to see yourself as the best. As Tina was just saying there, remember, you are the only one in your lane. And to you, Dr. Velma, she says, yes, Dr. Velma, when you change one life, you've literally influenced and changed the next generation. Such a great point. Melissa, same question to you with a slight variation. We talk about, of course, in realizing about bringing your own personal best to every day. But what keeps you motivated even when it seems like that personal best is not being recognized?
I believe God gives us everything we need. because I believe that the recognition is not what I focus on. The celebrations is not what I focus on. And frankly, that is not what will keep me going. When I'm looking at things and things are just not working, I'm showing up every day, but things are not going great. And you have to have something else deep down in your core that says, I know my part. My part is to do the work. My part is to show up as my best every single day. My part is not to control who cheers for me, who gets excited for me. So I don't even focus on that. If I did, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning. Yesterday after church, I walked into a store and we wore purple yesterday to recognize domestic violence. And this girl comes up to me and she says, "You look beautiful today." And I just said, "Thank you." She said, "You don't remember me, do you?" And she shared with me one day I came in that same store and she was in there crying and upset. And she shared a story of domestic violence with me. And I shared her with her and helped her that day. I did not know her. I didn't remember the conversation until she started talking about it. To me, that is success. If that caused another person to push through a very difficult season, I went through that season. I know that feeling. I know the feeling of the breakthrough. For her to just look over there and just, I am so thankful for one that she shared with me because I didn't recognize her. But she recognized me at that moment and she spoke to me and told me how that conversation pushed her through the next level and how she was able to escape that situation. That is reward. That is what keeps me going. So the awards, the celebrations, people calling my name, that doesn't do it for me, and that will not do it for me.
Love that. Great reminder, I think, for all of us, for sure. And I hope our audience is getting that really, and I love the way that Tina put it, you have to start with you. You've been given something special.
Yeah.
As long as you recognize that, it doesn't matter who else doesn't recognize it. But as Melissa just shared, that the people who are supposed to notice will notice. As Dr. Velma mentioned, the people who are supposed to notice will notice. So I think, in it, and I can't remember who said this earlier, and maybe you, Melissa, that, so many people are focused on how many followers they get.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of realizing that not all people who are following you are actually on your side anyway.
That's right.
And I think, a lot of times we get so caught up in the numbers, right? And I think the world is showing us, by the way things change, that really what matters is value. And as long as we have that value, that is the important thing, I think, for us all. So, Tina, I'm going to go to you next to kick off the next round. What would you say to our audience about the importance of taking today to recognize their personal best?
Well, so often when I give a tour at the museum, and I did it last week again to the children, I'll ask them what day out of the year is the only day that we can do something. And some will say Saturday, they'll go through the different days of the week. But in reality, it is only today. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not yet here. We only have today to make that difference. And as Matthew 10:42 says, that even if we give a cup of water, the reward will not go unnoticed. So we can do the smallest and simplest thing, and we will be rewarded. If not by others, then we ourselves will know that I did the right thing. And so that is a huge reward in itself. And so I just think if we will continue to doing every day our very best, then God will bring the people across our path that he's already destined for that particular moment. So that is a gift in itself, to know that no matter what moment I live, that God will provide that person or that situation where I can speak life into, or I can be an encouragement to.
Love that. And Melissa, what about for you? What would you say to our audience about the importance of recognizing their personal best?
That is the key. It's how you see yourself. It's not how others see you. It's not how many followers you have. It's not how many people recognize your skills. It's how you see yourself. That's what gets you up in the morning. That's what gets you through the day. That's what gets you through those days that all the cheers are quiet. It's what gets you through that day that you made that video and that post that you thought was going to get 1 million likes and it got 1. How you feel about yourself is what will get you to your destiny. Remember, that's the only thing you can control. You can't control what anybody else thinks. You can't control what anybody else says about you, how you look, how you show up. You can only control you. And for me, once I recognize that, that's why I talk about all the time, it's the voice you hear in your head, because the voice you hear in your head is how you will feel about yourself. That's why I had a conversation this morning, even with my mother, about how sometimes you go back to earlier years and you focus on the things that weren't going well. Well, if you don't change that channel really quickly, that will become your focus and that will stop you in your tracks. So just get excited about your life, even on the days it doesn't feel well, and get really skilled at changing the channel in your head about how you feel about you and your journey. And that's what will move you forward.
All right, great message. Dr. Velma, same question to you. What would you say to our audience about the importance of recognizing doing their own personal best today?
I would just say ditto to what Tina said and ditto to what Melissa said, because when Melissa referred to the fact that you not worry about other people. Look, I was very timid. I was very shy. I was withdrawn. And the minute a person hurt my feelings or said something wrong to me, I retreated. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to know about it. I didn't want to connect anymore. I had to really, like Melissa said, push past those feelings and push past those things and really focus on what I believe God has given me to do. And so believing that and doing every day what you believe is your divine assignment is so important. That's success. Whether your feelings get hurt, sometimes we have to learn to show grace to others, be forgiving. And I made it a challenge for myself. Let me see how I can win that person's heart. And in doing so, sometimes it's in something I can do for them or something I can give them, or suggestions I can make. I don't know. If God causes our paths to cross again, I would make sure they will not forget who I was because of how I served and how I gave. And in many cases, some of those people who were hurtful at first became a supporter. And so I'm grateful for what I've been able to do and what I've been able to accomplish. So again, like Melissa and Tina both said, focus on who you have been called to be. No apology necessary. I am who I am. I am enough, one of the ladies said earlier, and that should be enough for you too.
Love that. Great reminders. Thank you all so much again for the great encouragement. Again, everyone, message number 44 from my book, Word That Choose to Live By. Trust was the theme. And really do believe and trust that you have been given what you need. It's really up to you to recognize it. It kind of is the theme of this whole book, and it all begins with you. As we talked about earlier in the season of Word That Choose to Live By, that your Heavenly Father has given you something special. It's up to you to recognize it and to use it. And that's whether anyone else, I think about the example of Jesus himself. Not everyone recognized the gift that he was, and he was God's son. And so we cannot expect the world, because again, the world is not our audience anyway. Just like Jesus had his certain followers, we will have people who will appreciate what we have to do and realize that we're definitely stronger together. You can get your copy, of course, of Word That Choose to Live By here on Amazon. You can get it in paperback, hardcover, as well as, of course, you can get the Kindle edition as well. Melissa, I'm going to kick off this final part with you. Let our audience know how they can stay connected with you.
I just want to remind you that you are here for a purpose. And that purpose is to show up every single day, being your best that you can be. You can always connect with us at themelissabanks.com. There you can get some links of our podcast, some women sharing their journey and how they were able to push through that tough stuff and still create the life they want and deserve. Take a moment and listen to some of those stories about women and being powerful. All of our platforms is right there. So you just need to remember themelissabanks.com.
I want to say hello to, I think it's pronounced Vinesk on Instagram. Yvette, hello to you. Good to see you over there on Instagram. Riaz Ahmed Khan, hello to you as well. Thank you so much for being with us. Thanks for that, Melissa. Dr. Velma, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Hey, I just want every woman listening to know that you are worthy, you are good, you are valuable. So you are a wow woman, a woman of worth, and you can stay connected with me at drvelmabagby.com.
All right, thank you for that, Dr. Velma. And Tina, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, let's stay connected. I am on all social media platforms as Tina Siemens and also at seminalthebook.com. Never give up.
That's right. Never give up. And we definitely thank you, ladies, again for another great segment. Again, as a reminder, we will not have a live broadcast next week. We will be posting a vignette, though, on our social media. So make sure you guys are staying connected with all of us there. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care.